Now, I know all of us think about ideas and how many ideas do we have of doing this and doing that. And some of us have ideas that we feel are going to change the world, and they just might. But here's the key. We have to realize the power of an idea. Almost everything's generated from some sort of idea. I love when Dr. King used to say, like an idea whose time has come. And sometimes you think that something is not as critical, or you think something is not as important, and then you turn on the TV or social media and you see someone who seems like they did what you thought about before, and they went and make money and do all these things off of something that hit your mind and you just didn't count it as a big deal. Well, we're going to talk today about the power of an idea and how to turn those ideas into big opportunities. And we want to understand that we are one of the most genius things that walk this planet is a human being, right? With a brain that is able to think and create. This is something that we have by our mere nature in terms of how we were created, is the ability to generate ideas, the ability to imagine. And so just to understand the power of that, right? So let's look at this and go into my whiteboard for a minute. You think about all of us here, and let me draw a little person here. You think about all of us here, and we, as we sit here, but we know inside we all have a brain, right? And one of the most powerful things that come from that is an idea, right? And sometimes we refer to this as the old light bulb, right? And we are able to generate an idea. And so when you think about an idea, I want you to think for a minute that this is one of the most critical things that have generated the most wealth in the world by far, is somebody's idea, right? There's nothing that didn't start from some level of an idea. And this is why we never want to take these things lightly. Like an idea is a big deal. The key is there are some ideas that are better than other ideas, but how do we actually prepare and actually get in a situation where we can generate better ideas and ideas that actually translate to certain levels of wealth and success, happiness, health, whatever those things may be that we're striving for. So we want to understand that this whole process of, us, using our brain and generating ideas. Well, some of the things we want to really get and be clear about is that we actually have to put something inside of ourselves, right? So we think about this brain here, right? The more that we load this, right, with options, information, data, experience, right? And I can go on and on. The more that I have committed to my brain, and I'm doing this through many things, right? So I'm reading books. I'm listening to information, right? I'm observing. And I'm also practicing, which also is committed to memory. When I start to practice and actually do certain things, right? Practice it. The more that I'm exposed and I'm reading, I'm listening, observing, practicing things, and I'm getting more options, information, data, experience, and I'm getting more levels of understanding, this becomes the womb at which ideas are born. So if there's nothing that I'm applying consistently to my brain, so to speak, there's nothing to pull from that will generate, that is, ideas. Now, when we think about ideas, I want you to keep in mind that there's all sorts of ideas we can have. So we can have ideas that relate to different goals. It could be ideas related to strategies, right? We can have ideas related to stories, plans. We could have ideas related to different types of models or actions that we want to take. And the list goes on, right? And all of these can translate to business types of things, right? Or it could even be personal. So I could just go on and on about the types of ideas, right? But thinking about the fact that there's so many ways to actually harness an idea and use it for something, right? So, I had to get an idea to talk to you about ideas, right? So think about that. So everything has to hit our mind, has to hit our mind. But the key is that I want you to understand that there's something that we can do to generate more ideas is by making sure we are constantly putting new information in and then actually listening and observing and practicing those things enough that it begins to generate ideas. Now, when we think about the process of doing that, right, and generating ideas. Now, let's go into this a little bit more. So you want to understand that we want to be able to learn things, right? And as we learn, we want to be able to take things and generate ideas, hopefully for big opportunities. But one of the things I want you to understand, this is very prominent in music, is we use some different colors here. In music, we have what is called tension, right? And that tension then actually leads to rest. So music is really about tension and rest. So the tension is you can feel certain movements in music that let you know that the music is rising or falling. It's creating a tension. You ever watching a movie and they play this music to create a tension as someone is chasing somebody and someone you don't know where they are. They're creating suspense and there's tension. And then all at once the scene happens and then things kind of relax. It's the same thing in a song or in music as things begin to move. But in music, did you know that silence is actually sound? So silence can be used on purpose to actually be a form of things that you're hearing. So, which is kind of strange, right? Because when I take that time and I take all the sound out, so to speak, it creates a dramatic effect and it causes you to lean in and it sets you up for what happens next because it's a part of a bigger song. Now, we even see this with working out, right? So if we look at an individual that's got this, muscular arm and they've got, they've been working and building out their muscles or whatever. And we see some muscles popping out here. This is like a shoulder here going out to the hand here or whatever. But the key here is when we think about building muscle, it's also about, what is it? Tension and rest again, right? So we're dealing with, again, we've got tension, tearing muscle fibers, and then we rest. Now, when you think about ideas, I want you to understand something. It's a very similar thing in that we can create attention by applying ourselves to learn through all the things I was just talking about, right? Getting exposed to more information, getting more options, being able to practice things. You're learning by demonstration. You're learning by listening. You're learning by observation. There's the tension. But what we want to make sure is that we create some time to rest. Now, what do I mean there? You have to create some times where you sit down, let your mind wander, and then be able to write down the things that are hitting your mind. And this is very powerful. Some of the best ideas I ever got was while I was on vacation, right? Or on a plane, I couldn't do anything but think. Because you're just going, right? Trying to get this done, that done. Have you ever just, sat down and, intentionally just let your mind wander? And then next thing you know, you put all this information inside and now things are starting to pop up, right? Things are here. And the thing is, if you don't capture that You never know what it could become. And sometimes the idea is in the form of a question. So that question turns into you getting an answer that leads to the big opportunity. So we want to be able to create the rest time where we sit down and we let our mind wander, sometimes going for a walk or while you're working out or just sitting outside in the sun or just taking the time at home to sit in a chair and let your mind wander. You'll be surprised at what starts to come about. And the next thing you know, there's all these ideas that begin to flood. And as you do, eventually you are going to take those ideas, right? And you can begin to filter them, right? So I can put these ideas in here into this filter, right? And if I really want to get to an idea that makes money, I can begin to filter them, right? So some levels of idea might create happiness. It might create efficiency, right? I'm just using these examples. It might create opportunity. And some of these you will filter down that actually can generate money, if that's important. Like money is not always, it's not the only reason we live and want to do things, right? So I can have an idea that makes my life better, more efficient, makes me happier, just as important. But if we want to filter down, the reason that we create a filter when we're thinking about money is because there's some rules to making money. There's rules in business. There's rules in banking. There's rules in society in terms of why someone would take money out of their pocket and give it to you. So when you have an idea, you have to vet that idea through a filter that allows you to generate opportunities that are financial. But there are other big opportunities that are just as critical. I'm going to have an idea for my relationship to be better, an idea for me to be better with my fitness by having a better schedule. I'm going to have an idea about how I want to help people that makes me feel good because I'm contributing to people and serving at a capacity that makes me feel more fulfilled. But the key is you have to choose what your filter is based on the types of things you're trying to do, but it all starts from allowing your mind to generate the ideas that can actually make a difference in your world and maybe even the world at large. And so I hope you got this, and this is why the power of an idea is so important. And always remember, if you understand that why I put things in, it allows me to get better things out. So I have to put information in, experiences in, pay the price, right? Have some of the tension and then take the time. This is also important. Just as much as you got to read the books and learn and have the experiences and practice, you got to take the time to rest and have something nearby and capture what's coming to your mind. And it's coming to you in a more educated way because you're more educated. The more you learn, your ideas will be more thought through and you'll get better ideas because you can better recognize what is a good idea because you've been learning more about what it takes to do whatever that thing is that's important to you. So use these things in the right way to continue to be the CEO of your life where we keep on taking charge, expanding and growing so that we can overcome the obstacles that get in our way to refuse to let anything stop us from being successful. Until next time, do everything you can to unleash the power of your ideas.